Today, we're talking about real estate wholesaling, a strategy known for quick returns, low capital, and minimal risk. We'll explore how wholesaling stands out from other investment strategies like buy and hold and fix and flip. Towards the end, we'll talk about the best and easiest ways for agents and investors to find good deals. And for those that might want to get their real estate license, we'll discuss why many wholesalers opt to get their license and how this can be an incredible option for your business. If you are thinking about this path, join me at eXp Realty. We are looking for partners in your area. Send me an email. My info is in the description below. Now, if you're not familiar with the term real estate wholesaling, it is exactly as it sounds, buying real estate at wholesale prices. And if you're an investor, you need deals like this to function and operate at an optimal level. This is where many real estate investors start, and the reason why is because you don't really need money to get started, or at least not very much. You don't even really need money partners. However, you do need to have a list of potential buyers that you could wholesale properties to. But if you find the right deal, the rest will fall into place. If you're looking to wholesale property, one of the biggest benefits is the fact that you can get paid quickly. As we know, real estate is a marathon. It is a long-term game, especially for the investor. If you're buying buy and hold properties or even fix and flip properties, you need either a lot of capital to get started if you're looking at turnkey rentals, or you need a lot of money to carry a fix and flip if you're doing it by yourself and getting started as an investor. Whereas as a wholesaler, you can literally find a good deal, get it under contract, and put into the contract Chris Molinar and or assignee. Then you put it under contract for a certain length and period of time, and then you go out to prospect looking for potential buyers to assign this contract to for a wholesale fee. Now, I'll explain a little bit more later the benefits of this strategy versus the approach as an agent. Now, there's essentially three parts to this process. Number one is finding good deals, which everybody wants good deals. Number two is doing the contract process properly, essentially offering on properties. And number three is finding buyers that are likely to close, because of course you don't get paid until it actually sells. As an agent, working with wholesalers is one of the best things that you can do. Number one, if you are already working with investors, you can always send referrals back and forth. You might have a property under contract that you're looking to sell back pocket as a real estate agent, and you might know a good real estate wholesaler who has a network of buyers that might consider purchasing that property, and you can find a mutually beneficial relationship. On the reverse, that wholesaler might be looking to find a buyer for a property that they currently have under contract, and you might be able to help facilitate that deal as well through a referral for one of the buyers that you're working with. And if the wholesaler has a property under contract that isn't necessarily a total home run, maybe it's only a base hit, or maybe it really is at retail market value and they just don't know that because they're a beginner wholesaler, and you run the numbers on this property and find out that it is simply a base hit. It's not a huge smoking deal, but it is a good deal still. And they might struggle to find a buyer for this property off market. If they don't manage to close on that wholesale contract that they have, this particular seller might still need a good real estate agent to help sell this property on the open market with the MLS service, and that's where you come in. Working with wholesalers is exceptional. When you're wholesaling property, the great thing is when the market turns dramatically, all you need to do is modify your strategy slightly. Or if you have a property under contract, maybe you're less likely to be able to close on that property as compared with a fix and flip. If you currently have a property under contract that you've already closed closed and you've already started the process of fixing that property and the market changes dramatically, you might be stuck using a rent to own strategy as an exit out of that property, and you might get stuck on that property on more of a long-term basis, which is why working a wholesale deal is what some people call the quick nickel versus the slow dime. One of the other problems that wholesalers bump into when they are getting started is if they do find a property that is a good deal, they might not have the network in order to sell that property to a qualified buyer, which is another reason why agents can come in and help facilitate that process as well. I personally love working with investors, and what you will find when you talk to investors is that they only want to, or they would prefer to work with agents that actually do invest in real estate and that do specialize in working with investors, because there's a lot of creative strategies that you can put into place as a real estate agent, as a real estate investor, that if you don't understand this part of the process, then it can be a little bit more cumbersome and a little bit more challenging to put a deal together. Even though investors can be a little bit more challenging to work with because they might be buying in multiple different markets, they might be working with multiple agents who are constantly feeding them deals, so it can be a little bit more competitive. But if you are on the ball and if you are providing service and value to these investors and you create those mutually beneficial relationships, what you will find is that they will constantly need you for market updates and to help cross-check and cross-reference comparables for a potential property that they're looking at working on a private wholesale deal. And again, these are opportunities to do social deposits in this relationship and add value and be a good agent. Even though there might not be a transaction directly attached or involved, there's always an indirect benefit, because think of it like this: these investors that you're working with, in their sphere of influence, they are known as the real estate expert. So if somebody needs a retail purchase or a retail sale in their network, who do you think that they are going to refer people to when they're looking to buy and sell within their existing network? If you're the one that's always there showing up and providing exceptional service and value, regardless of the outcome, you're always going to receive genuine benefits in terms of referrals. It pays huge dividends because these are repeat and referral customers. So how do you find wholesale deals? Exactly the same way that you would find retail deals. However, the number of wholesale deals available as compared to the number of retail deals is obviously significantly less, which is one of the reasons why I say a lot of wholesalers do find themselves falling into real estate as a licensed agent, because it can be very frustrating to be constantly out prospecting every single day looking for a new business and constantly find new opportunities for a purchase or a sale. But because it's not a wholesale deal, there's very little, if anything, in terms of some sort of profit involved in it. Whereas if you have a license, you have an opportunity to become a part of that transaction. One of the big differences when finding wholesale deals versus retail might be strategic neighborhood, based on where you know that there's a big upside and a big downside in terms of which properties might need repair, that might be a little bit older, that might be up and coming areas where you can find some room for profit. And then when you are prospecting, you might target specific houses that look like they are in need of repair when you go to drive by. But here's the list from highest, most effective, highest priority to lowest priority, starting at the top, which is past client referrals. Anybody that you've dealt with in the past could be a great source of referrals for you. Next on the list is your sphere of influence. Any investors that you've worked with in the past, any lawyers, agents, mortgage brokers, your network of friends and family, they can all be great sources of referrals for potential deals that you can work with. Networking events, Facebook groups, and social media. In our local market, we've actually created a real estate investment network to become a part of that hosts monthly seminars. And if you don't have one in your area, create one. For sale by owners, they have a sign in the yard and they have identified that they need to sell. Expired listings. In Canada, it's illegal to contact expired listings. As a licensed agent, as a wholesaler, if you can find contact information for people that had their property on the market before, I don't don't see any reason why you couldn't use this as an effective strategy. Yard signs. You see those signs sometimes. We buy houses, or if you have a property under contract and you are able to put a for sale sign in the yard, that is one option for you. Online marketing and website. Building your personal brand on social media is another great way to get the word out for what you do as a real estate investor or agent. Door knocking and targeting distressed properties, as I'd mentioned. If you simply drive around the neighborhoods that are most likely for you to find investment properties and you label those that are obviously what we would call ugly houses from the outside, but maybe they have a really good bone structure and maybe they have a really good upside potential. If you create a list of these properties and you continue to target and retarget these properties, letting them know that you are an active buyer in the marketplace and you can help them if they need help and need to transfer title, you can then go ahead and as well during that process build a list of potential buyers, and when somebody reaches out for you all you need to do is essentially connect the dots. One of the biggest differences, however, between wholesalers and real estate agents is when, as a real estate agent, if somebody reaches out to us and identifies that they are in a distressed selling situation, if we know for certain that we could sell this property on the market for premium dollar, meaning premium with regards to the condition that the property's in, whereas a wholesaler might come in and offer a quick sale price and have a little bit more available for them in terms of profit. As an agent, we are here to represent the public, and so we are here to represent the seller. So in a situation like that, you need to obviously as well disclose that you are a real estate agent. And generally speaking, the public does quite often have a guard up in terms of, first of all, this is a real estate agent. Are they here to represent my best interests? And of course, as an agent, you are required to represent their best interests, which is one of the reasons why it's easier as an agent to sell properties at retail value versus wholesale. However, there are what I call investor-only specials, which means if the property is in a condition that the only buyer for this property is going to be an investor based on the condition, meaning it's not even in a livable condition, meaning you probably can't even put a mortgage on it, meaning the only buyer is an investor, meaning it's still a wholesale deal. And yes, a lot of these properties are off market, but not all of them. You will find wholesale deals on the MLS as well. So essentially, finding a wholesale deal is just finding a good deal. And if you do find yourself as a wholesaler bumping into properties all of the time that you feel frustrated that you can't sell because you don't have a real estate license, send me an email. My info's in the description below. We are looking for partners in your area. Thanks for being here today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in this video next. Have a fantastic day.